Hey everybody, so today we are continuing along with our season previews, and with Travis Konechny signed, all their RFA situations are figured out, and we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. Before we get into the video, I just quickly want to say if you're not yet a subscriber to this channel, to please hit that subscribe button and follow along for all my hockey content all season long. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the like button. That really helps out the channel a lot and would be greatly appreciated. So the Philadelphia Flyers had an absolute disaster of a season last year. Just about everything that went wrong for them did. They ended up firing their coach. They ended up firing their GM. It was just a brutal year for the Flyers, who missed the playoffs by a lot and never really seemed like a playoff team at all last season. They made some changes this offseason, most notably bringing in Kevin Hayes. They also added Matt Niskanen from the Washington Capitals and traded for Justin Braun from the San Jose Sharks. So they've added some veteran defensive help. They've added Kevin Hayes as a second-line center to take some pressure off of Nolan Patrick. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what to expect from this team this year. Probably more so than any other team in the league, I have no idea. There's talent there. There's absolutely talent there. There's big names there. This is a team that, if things go right for them and they play up to their potential as well as they can, this could be a division-winning team in my mind. Or if things go wrong like they did last year and it just doesn't connect and the chemistry isn't there and nothing seems to go right for them this season, they could finish dead last in that division. I could potentially see them winning that division, or I could see them finishing dead last. And obviously anywhere in between. I have no idea what to expect from this team. The talent is there. The players are there. But it all has to come together. And last season, it did not come together. So let's take a look at their projected lineup here. For lineups, I use a combination of cap-friendly and daily face-off depth chart / line combinations, and try and just base it off of that. And then if there's anything in particular I want to change, I sometimes do change something. But for the most part, it's based off of what those websites have. So first line, Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, and Travis Konechny. That is an A-plus first line. I mean, Giroux, one of the best players in the league. Sean Couturier has had a great career so far, and the last couple of seasons has been incredible offensively. He came into the league kind of as that two-way defensive-minded center, shutdown center. Now he's taken off offensively as well. And Travis Konechny on a fresh new $5.5 million per year contract, consistently a 20 to 25 goal scorer. I think he can get to 25 to 30. Really good first line there. And that line is pretty well set. That's going to be their top line. Leaving their second line being JVR, James Van Riemsdyk, potential 30 goal scorer on the second line, with Kevin Hayes in the middle and Jake Voracek on the right side. There's a lot of talent there for sure. It's just a matter of, producing, and the Flyers have had some issues with getting production out of the right players these last year in particular. So for their top six is really good. I mean, find me a top six that is that much better than what the Flyers have around the rest of the league. I mean, just Kevin Hayes, I think, is very overpaid at making over $7 million per year, but I think it was necessary that they needed a second-line center. Nolan Patrick is not ready for that kind of role yet, and they needed a second-line center. So Hayes is going to help them, even though he's overpaid. And then, I mean, the goal scoring there with Giroux and Van Riemsdyk, Konechny, Voracek on the wings, I mean, there's so much point potential there. That's a very good top six. Now you move down to the third line. You have Oscar Lindblom on the left side, Nolan Patrick in the middle, who I think is going to be much more comfortable in a third line center role rather than a second line center role. And I have Michael Raffl on the right side. I do think there are some positions and some roster spots up for grabs in their bottom six, especially on the wings. I think Patrick and Lawton are pretty much your third and fourth line centers, but those wing spots I think are pretty much open. Lindblom's going to be there. Lindblom had 17 goals last year. He can be a 20-goal guy. He's going to make the team. But I think, the rest of these wing spots in the bottom six are kind of up for grabs. Fourth line then is Scott Lawton, like I said, down the middle with Mikhail Vorobyev on the left side, and I have Curtis Gabriel penciled in on the right side. Gabriel would give them some toughness. He's definitely a real tough guy and a fighter and a really physical player. There are some other guys that could potentially take that spot if they want to go in a different direction. There are some younger players that could potentially make the team, and I'll talk more about them later. But that's what I have for their forward group. That group should be able to score. The scoring should not be an issue for this team. Their top six is fantastic. They've got a decent third line. This is a team that should be able to put points on the board. Moving on to their defense, we have the top pair being Ivan Provorov and the newly acquired Matt Niskanen. Provorov had a brutal season last year. He needs to get back to where he was at the year before, where he really established himself as a very, very good young top pair defenseman. So hopefully he can get back to that this year for the Flyers. And Niskanen will give him a solid veteran partner who can still bring it offensively and play well in his own end as well. That leaves Shane Gostisbehere and Justin Braun as the second pair. Really, the second and third pair are kind of interchangeable, which one you want to call the second, which one you want to call the third. It doesn't really matter. Gostisbehere and Braun are likely to play together. Again, Gostisbehere, pretty tough year last year. Still put up the points. Obviously, he's always going to put up the points. He had 37 last year, but he was minus 20. It was a disaster defensively for Ghost. He's got to get better in his own end and limit the turnovers and the bad turnovers. That's something he definitely needs to work on. And again, they put him with Justin Braun. Now they have a veteran defensive defenseman to put him with, which I think could really help Gostisbehere out a lot and really help stabilize that defense pair. And that leaves your third pair to be Robert Hägg and Travis Sanheim, both young guys who had very good seasons last season and really showed that they are not only NHL ready, but can play very well at the NHL level. Sanheim had a great season with 35 points. Hägg, much more of a defensive guy, but a good shutdown defensive guy. And they're both, Hägg's only 24 and Sanheim's only 23. Good young players there. So overall, that defense core looks pretty good. I like the veteran additions of Niskanen and Braun because I think that's going to help Provorov and Gostisbehere a lot. It will just help stabilize them, and they won't have to, won't be as much pressure on them when they have a veteran guy who knows what they're doing beside them. In goal, Carter Hart. This is Carter Hart's team now. We're going to get to see if he's the real deal or not this year. I thought overall he was very good last season, but this will be his first full season, and we're going to get to see just how good Carter Hart is or isn't, and Brian Elliott will be there to back him up. So as far as extra players go, on the back end, they have Philippe Myers and Samuel Morin as extra defensemen, both young guys who can come step in if needed. And if there were ever any injuries, they can come in and play. So those are your 7th and 8th defensemen. So they do have pretty good defense depth. They have depth back there. And as far as extra forwards go, Tyler Pitlick is currently injured, but will at some point likely get a chance to crack this lineup. And then they have some younger players who I think could end up taking roster spots near the bottom of this lineup. Joel Farabee is a guy that I think could potentially make the team out of training camp. He's only 19. Morgan Frost, another blue chip dynamic prospect. Nicholas Aube-Kubel saw some NHL action last year and is an important player has been an important player for their minor league team in the AHL. So I think he could potentially take that right wing fourth line spot. And there are others as well who could be surprisingly good in camp and end up taking roster spots. But overall, again, this is a team, I just don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what to expect because the talent is obviously there. Just look at that top six. Provorov, Gostisbehere on the back end, Niskanen now, Sanheim, who's low-key pretty darn good. Carter Hart in goal. Again, I think how their season goes is largely going to depend on their goaltending. If Carter Hart comes in and is a real deal, full-on, very good NHL starter, this could be a very good team this year. If Carter Hart comes in and struggles and has a sophomore slump and just doesn't seem, things don't just click, this could be a long year again in Philly like it was last year. So goaltending is certainly going to be important. But overall, I mean, when you look at this roster, the talent is there, the roster is there. It's just about performing on the ice, and that's what they didn't do last year. They did do it the year before, and they finished top 3 in the division. They didn't do it last year, and they missed the playoffs by a lot. So it's really going to come down to just performing on the ice because the talent and roster is there. So this is a team, honestly, that if you told me that they were going to win the division this year, I would believe it. I would say, okay, Carter Hart's the real deal. Provorov has a bounce-back season. Niskanen and Braun help stabilize the defense. Gostisbehere is a force on the power play. Their top 6 puts up a ton of points. I would say, yeah, I can absolutely see that. They could win that division. You could tell me that this team finishes 8th in that division, dead last, and I would believe that too. I would say, okay, the top 6 didn't click the way that they thought. Provorov had another tough year. Niskanen and Braun look old and can't keep up. Carter Hart, really tough sophomore season, and I could see them finishing dead last as well. I really have no idea what to expect from this team, and that's going to make doing predictions hard because I won't know where to put them when I do my season predictions, but there's so much talent there, but we saw how that didn't matter last season. So we'll have to wait and see how this year goes. That's really the only thing you can do is just wait and see how this year goes. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.